Alright everybody, welcome back to another Friday Night Magic stream from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. My name, as always, is Zachary Evans. I'm by myself tonight. But regardless of that, we've got some good Magic the Gathering action for you. You've probably been watching the Pro Tour stream all day today as 400 plus players are battling Standard over in Dublin, Ireland. And we are just continuing that theme here with 4 rounds of Standard tonight, followed by a cut to top 8. 19 players here battling in the new Theros Standard, already into our round 1 feature match. On the left we see Michael Taylor, who's playing an Izzet controlled deck. He was our round 1 feature match at West Virginia States last week, and although it was somewhat unfortunate in terms of our technical difficulties for that coverage, we did get to see his Izzet deck, which is basically counter spells and red removal, and then some big finishers in the form of Stormbreath Dragon and Ember Swallower. And then Jordan Pectyo is playing a junk mid-range deck. I think this is just basically a homebrew, so you will learn as we do exactly what is in Jordan's deck. So, pretty interesting matchup here between the somewhat off-the-radar Izzet control deck and a junk mid-range. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, we did have West Virginia State's coverage last week. On Saturday we had some technical difficulties, so we only had 2 rounds of the top 8 that were basically usable. But you can go over to our YouTube page at youtube.com/ZachSellsMagic and look for that, as the final round was pretty interesting. I won't go ahead and spoil the winner for you, but it was some pretty good Magic. Pretty good matches all day, actually. It's unfortunate that the coverage didn't go better, but... So Michael's playing, content to play Land Go here. I know his deck plays Steam Augury, so that's probably why we're seeing the Steam Vents come into play untapped there. But he is going to let this Advent of the Worm resolve at the end of his turn. They're looking for a worm token out of the token box, and I don't think there's one in there, so just using the back of another one. So Jordan serves in with the 5/5 worm token. Well, Michael continues to look for a token that is not there. I need to up my game when it comes to the token box. That's inevitable. So Cyclonic Rift going to bounce the token. Jordan going to put it in his hand. Anyway. Interesting deck today in the Pro Tour. A lot of devotion decks, the biggest ones being the oft-expected mono red deck. Hey Dave, what? Did you already win?
I didn't have an opponent.
Oh, he didn't have his deck ready, or what? He was trying to build one quickly before the tournament began, but didn't get it done?
Didn't get it done.
No. Oh well. Well, we've got Michael Taylor, who you should be well aware of here, playing since you sit in the same cubicle, the same office with him at work. He's playing his Izzet control deck, which he told me is basically the exact 75 cards that he played in States. And then his opponent is Jordan, who's playing a junk mid-range deck. I have no idea what's in his deck, but we have seen an Advent of the Worm, and now the oft overlooked Gate Creeper Vine making an appearance.
He's a block superstar.
It's fine. And there's the Steam Augury. So in this pile we've got Anger of the Gods, a card I could not make out, and Jordan basically binning the Architect and the land that Michael sticks with it.
Anytime you get a 3-card pile, you're going to be happy with it.
If you take the 3-card pile, doesn't that technically mean your opponent made a mistake?
Not always.
The old Fact or that card. I keep trying to relate that card to Fact or Fiction. It's not the same card at all.
Nah.
Like, if you split the cards and the guy takes the 3-card pile, you made a mistake. I know I'm generalizing here.
I wouldn't say that was always true, but
there's moral victories if they take the 2-card pile.
The way you could always tell how bad your piles were, or how fast they snapped up
Yes.
the pile.
If they did anything quickly, then it was a mistake.
If they just snapped that pile up, then that probably should have been a 1.
So Jordan adds a Loxodon Smiter to his board, which is actually important in this matchup since most of Michael's removal so far has been in the form of countering things before they hit the board.
Yeah, just about everything does 3. Even Frostburn Weird's pretty bad against that guy.
Yeah, it's basically mortars or no. Although Michael does play, we saw a Cyclonic Rift answer an Advent Lorem token earlier, and I love that card. Play that card in my cube. Like, if you ever overload Cyclonic Rift in cube, I don't think you ever lose that game. What I was going to say earlier when you were walking in that obviously we've seen a lot of Devotion decks out of the Pro Tour today. The mono red ones as expected, which I think you're playing a version of tonight. There's also the mono blue one, which is kind of the breakout deck so far.
Yeah.
But there was also, they said, a mono green deck that was basically just a ramp deck, and it splashed blue for Cyclonic Rift. And if you think about it, the way the format works, especially the way those Devotion decks works, they spend so much time establishing this this board state with 6 blue mana symbols, and if you just end of turn bounce everything to their hand, it's got to be pretty good. Wait, I thought that was Gatecreeper Vine, but I don't think it's Gatecreeper Vine at all. Do you know what that card is?
Is it Silver Carry added?
Oh yeah, it's the non-promo. No, or is that the promo? I'm going to low-tech it, Dave.
Haven't drafted that one yet.
How about Arbor Colossus?
What?
Arbor Colossus.
I don't even know what that is.
2 and 3 green. It's a 6/6. You can make monstrous,
that guy,
and it plummets.
He's kind of interesting.
I don't know. All the monstrous guys are pretty good if you can make them monstrous.
Well, I just kind of look at them all now, and it's like, well, you got a whole bunch of mana symbols in your cost. Like when you were talking about the green deck with the blue earlier, I think kind of the big card that's going to come out of Pro Tour is the land.
Nykthos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. I don't understand why people weren't on it ahead of time, because it's basically coffers. Like the way, especially with the hybrid mana that's available in this format, like it's just like taps for 5 or 6 almost every time.
Yeah, Mike and I were talking today, and we were both like, yeah, you kind of look at it and it's good, but we should know at this point in our Magic careers that when you look through the set, you just look at the ones that let you break the rules.
Yeah,
this one obviously
any land that can potentially tap for 9, or any land that can tap for more mana than 1, is probably worth looking into.
We were talking about
any card that's compared functionally to Cabal coffers is probably a card you should look into.
Oh yeah. We were talking about from back in the Mirrodin days that nobody initially realized how good affinity cards were. With all the artifact land and everything, and it's like, oh, we'll have this land that taps for mana, and also makes all my spells cost 1 less.
Yeah, it taps for 2.
Like, put about 4 of these in play.
Every artifact land taps for 2 mana and affinity, yeah. It's interesting. It would have been fun to be the guy who broke affinity, like the first guy who showed up to like the very first tournament and just had all of that stuff when Skullclamp was legal, and just been like, oh, that deck's very good. Like you wouldn't lose a game, right? Like
essentially how it would have gone.
Yeah. All right, so I have no idea how these guys are going to sideboard. Last year at States we had access to the deck list, and because of a lot of complicated things that made my Saturday last week very unfortunate, didn't have access to it, so I don't know exactly what Michael's sideboard is. Otherwise I would usually be able to remember from 6 days ago. But I can only imagine he's bringing in some more removal in this case. But I mean, if you're just playing red, if you're not playing black, you don't really have access to the targeted removal, the unqualified targeted removal.
Yeah.
There were some other interesting decks that we saw out of the Pro Tour today that I was interested in. A lot of the Team Star City guys. The Star City guys are basically on that mono blue deck. The Thassa, it's just the Devotion deck, and so that was pretty good. Sam Black's undefeated with that. Then the other undefeated player is Paul Rietzel, who is playing also from Team Star City, but he's playing black-white control basically. I mean, we were talking about earlier, like it's a control deck that plays 4 copies of Soldier of the Pantheon, so it kind of has those aggressive draws as well.
Yeah. Because
Soldier of the Pantheon, as Garrett was talking about earlier, basically blocks everything that's good in the format. Like it blocks Reckoner, it blocks The dude that makes mana.
Burning trees.
That's the one. Burning Tree Emissary, not Shaman. I always say Shaman once every week, and then there's a guy on YouTube that always gives me a hard time for it. Rightfully so. But those are interesting. Lucas Chaklovsky was playing a black, white, red, like honest to goodness control deck, kind of like what Garrett's playing, and then just some other interesting decks. A lot of the guys were on like the red, green aggro deck. I didn't think that was very good. Like it just seems like I don't know, like, it's the aggressive one. The one that's bigger, that's just like the monsters, like, that one seems fine. Because, like, you're not really sacrificing your mana base because the games go longer.
Yeah.
But, like, the really aggressive ones that are, like trying to play green cards and, like, Perforos and stuff, like, it just seemed, like...
It's too much.
Seemed awkward to me, but,
I'm kind of interested in seeing the black deck. There were rumblings of the black devotion deck.
Yeah, is that the one that plays Pack Rat?
I hope not.
There's one that they said there was one that does, because Pack Rat has the interesting trait of being the only token that adds to your devotion cast,
right?
Because it's an actual copy of Pack Rat. Most of the feature match games that I saw were pretty. There's a lot of decks, but they're all the same decks. You know, it wasn't. There wasn't a lot of variation at the top tables, so to speak. There's about 4 decks. And they were doing pretty good, but not that great.
Yeah.
A lot of them were using Nykthos. I mean, almost all of them were. Because I don't understand how, like, people weren't aware of, like... Well, actually, Pat Chapin is interesting. His feature match, he was talking to Frank Karsten, and they were talking about just, like, the metagame. And he said, like, you hear him on the mic, he'd be like, yeah, I think people thought, like, the devotion decks were going to be, like, the secret, but, like, it was obvious. I expect there to be, like, a ton of devotion decks, and there are. Which just seems, like, odd that anyone would be, like... The flagship mechanic of this set. Like, you didn't think that someone, like, they clearly forced it in design, so it's probably going to be good.
I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where, like, especially with the gods, I think that's about the only reason there.
I don't think the gods are very good at all. I think there's 2 gods that are playable, and the other ones are...
I think they're all pretty spectacular.
The black one?
Yeah.
Really? You're going to give me this line at the black one?
I'm really interested in battling with the black god.
I usually default to you being right about all things Magic, but if you're going to start feeding me this line about Erebos being good, I think I might have to reevaluate.
I think he's pretty interesting.
So back into game 2 here, Jordan picking up the first one very quickly off the back of an Arbor Colossus that resolved, and then a bunch of removal spells that took out Michael's Ground Force. It's got a turn 2 Caryatid, or however you pronounce that card. That's how I choose to pronounce it. Did he shock himself to do that?
I missed it at the beginning.
Or is that yeah, it's an Overgrown Tomb, right?
Yeah, in the Temple Garden.
I got it. Jordan, are you at 18?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
No, that's what I was asking. Usually that's what happens. Okay. I'll allow it this time, but in the future, you're gonna get DQ'd.
Problem solved.
And I don't even mean hot eats cool treats either. I almost always go for the cool treats.
What?
And Dairy Queen, DQ. Don't you remember the ad campaign, Hot Eats Cool Treats?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think the last... I might have been 15 years old last time I had Hot Eat.
You get your chicken finger basket?
Yes, that's exactly it. I didn't get the Blizzard, because I think you just die if you do that. But that is... I think that's the only Hot Eat that's worth consuming there. So, a Thoughtseize, revealing Turn and Burn. Oh, he plays Turn and Burn. That's actually a pretty good card. Mortar, Storm Breath, Augury, Jace, and the 4th land. Hey, it looks pretty good. Are you wincing at this? Is there something you don't like about it?
I mean, it's an acceptable keep. It's not a hand I'm super excited about. It's a hand you can't mulligan, but...
It doesn't have any... I would love an Essence Scatter somewhere in here, but I think he's just going to try to ride the back of that Steam Augury. Why did he not... oh, you can't, because it's Hexproof. That's why, because the rules of Magic don't allow for it, Dave. We talked about this before, but that Caryatid is like they finally got, like... I think that they finally got that card right. You know, there's been various iterations of that kind of card.
Yeah.
I think that's like, they finally got one that's like really good.
It's good.
Because you can block with it and not worry about like, do the last point of damage with the Spark Jolt or some nonsense.
Yeah, I initially looked at it, thought it was garbage. And then, because I'm always just so used to be like, well, you got to ramp into your 3-drop. And then it's kind of like, well, if your deck doesn't plan on doing that, it just doesn't matter. Like, if you're just planning on ramping into your 4-drop, then it's getting the same thing accomplished.
At States, one of the guys from Morgantown who top 8'd last year, and then basically narrowly missed it. I think he lost in round 4 or 5, and the wheels kind of came off. But Kazu Negri, who plays up at Four Horsemen, he always plays like his own deck. Like he always comes up with something cool.
Junk guy.
Yeah, and like I really liked his deck. Like, and he was playing Caryatid, and I thought playing it pretty well. Like just using it as a speed bump.
Yeah.
Because like, people don't like having to play Yoke Docs. Well, if you just play green, you can play better Yoke Docs.
I can get behind the Caryatid. I am not on the Yoke Docs.
You play what you got to. So there's an Obsidat, which we know Michael's going to be able to deal with next turn, assuming he gets a land. Because, like I said, Turn and Burn is actually really good in this format. Kills a Blood Baron.
I think that's one of the cards out of the sideboard. I think he might play like 1 or 2 main. But
I think remembering back to States, I think he did play 1 in the main deck, but we saw 1 in game 1. But how many he plays, it may not be a full set or whatnot. Also, not to keep going back, as we see Michael splitting up his Steam Augury piles into another Steam Augury, the Dragon, and a Guildgate, and Turn and Burn. And do you know what the other card was?
The red one? I couldn't tell.
He took the pile he took had a.
There's a Turn and Burn on top. Probably a land with it.
Yeah. Michael, pretty good decision to split the untapped land and the dragon into the same pile, or into different piles, because he's either going to give you a dragon or the ability to deal with your Obsidat. So, but Kazu's deck, he had Reaper of the Wilds. Did you see that card from the new set? 4/5 regenerates, does something else like Death Touch.
Oh, the green-black thing.
Yeah.
I think you can give him hexproof.
Yeah, it's just one of those cards that like a lot of people hoped would be good when it was spoiled, and like it's not seeing a lot of play. But then when it actually hits the board, you're like, that's really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
5 toughness is very important, and it costs 4. Of course, someone would say, why not just play Desecration Demon? It costs 4 and it's 6/6. Also out of the Pro Tour today, seeing the appearance of Alms Beast. I think we talked about that earlier, but another black-white mid-range deck playing 4 demons and some number of Alms Beasts, because having that many 4-drops is always good, right?
Drop that 6 power.
It does. I mean, it won it handily in the game that we saw. Bram Snapfingers take down a mono blue, like the Thassa deck. Just rolled it. So 6 mana, 4 overloaded mortars, which is one of the best ways to beat hexproof. Also taking out a Fleece mainline, so backbreaking play from Michael, as Overload does not target. I really like Michael's deck. I think Ember Swallower is a weird card, but like, and I don't even think, talking with Michael, I don't even think he's like real thrilled about it. But you have to play something to win the game, and you can only play so many dragons.
Yeah, that's kind of the way he looks at it.
If you could play 6 dragons, you'd probably just play 6 dragons. But
he's playing his 6 guys that can win.
I've just always thought the Ember Swallower was interesting in the way that, like, its monstrous ability, like, made you sack lands. Because, like, I don't really think, like, I mean, a deck like Michael's doesn't want that to happen, I don't think, necessarily.
Yeah, we talked about that a bit. Kind of thing with this deck, though, is that it really just caps out at 5 mana. It's not like he's going to hamper his ability to cast the Sphinx of Revelation. Like, he tops out at 5 with the Steam Augury.
Right.
It's like, if you monster us Stormbreath Dragon, it's kind of cute. If he's going to go monsters here,
kind of cute,
it's going to be cute.
Yeah. So, Sin Collector nets a Turn and Burn, and then Jordan adds another Fleece main line to the board with enough mana to make it monstrous should he want to, and that's what he's going to do. And then Michael follows up with a Stormbreath Dragon. So, all said and told, it's 4, 5, 6, dropping Michael to 10. And then, Jordan just passing back. Being able to kill something in response to the monstrous trigger in combat has got to feel like the greatest time walk ever. So we're going to make it monstrous. Stormseeker you for 11. I guess I'm showing my age because that's a sudden impact for down to 11, right?
It's Stormseeker to me.
Me too. That card wasn't playable until they printed another one. And then Jordan doesn't have enough there. The junk decks, or the green-white deck, basically. He's basically a green-white deck splashing for Read the Bones and removal. But they don't really have access to any kind of non-combat damage. So the dragon is enough. So Michael draws even. We move to a decider here in our round 1 feature match. We got 4 rounds tonight of Swiss, followed by a cut to top 8. We have 9 pairings, so 18 people. Why there are this few people playing Magic this time of the year is beyond me. This time last year we were having like 30 or so, and then into like November and December, like 40, 50. That's when we had like the 5 consecutive weeks of over 40. But we got Yin's here. Yin's playing black-white control. George Arbogast playing mono-red. You're playing mono-red. The Devotion deck. I guess there's 2 different decks. There's like the Devotion deck, and then there's like just the aggro deck.
Yeah, I'm not playing 1-drops this week.
They're not good.
I don't agree with that.
They're not where you... They're... I don't know. They're not as good as they used to be. Because we saw today, like, there's multiple games on the... oh, you're right. Fundamentally, they're fine, but... watching the Pro Tour covers today, there's just like a lot of times where like a guy would play like a turn 1 fire trigger satyr, which is like exactly where you want to be, and then like the opponent would play something and they just could never attack with it.
Yeah.
And even the CAC, it's not because it's a satyr specifically, it's just there's a lot of roadblocks in this format, and the creatures just aren't very good. Like you have to win off the back of like either Perforos or you know Fnatic or something. You have to go over the top.
They're real good cards for the first couple weeks. People's decks aren't tuned.
Yeah.
The decks are all still bad.
Then you gotta go big at the end.
Like so.
Garrett's here playing red, white, black control, like we talked about. Sam Hanna's here playing Izzet control Singleton. He's playing one of only Singleton cards.
Nice. Bring out the Highlander.
He's just having some fun. He's one of our more EDH based guys. Alec, I don't know what he's playing. I think he's playing red-green. He played black-white humans last week, and then chopped the finals with you, and then said the deck isn't any good and didn't want to play it anymore. And I said, based on results, it seems like it's not that bad. I really did like it. I mean, you lose Blood Artist, which is the main thing from that kind of archetype, but Sathar Necromancer still does a lot of work. Like, you go, like, turn 1 Soldier into turn 2 Aristocrat into turn 3, like, Frontline Medic and or Necromancer. Like, I don't know. What's your deck going to do in that situation?
I've kind of thought about that deck a lot. Not so much like his version, but I was thinking more like a mono white that has access to Thoughtseize and Doomblade. And,
Yeah, yes, you need a mono white deck that can kill a dragon.
yeah.
That's what you need.
But
Because we saw that last week in coverage with Chad Alt, who was down from Morgantown, playing in this FNM to play in States last week, and he had a mono white deck, which I thought was really good because you get to play Brave the Elements. And what's the other card is not Pay No Heed, but whatever the new card is, God's Willing. You can play up to like 6 copies if you want to. Like, obviously Brave is better, but you want to play as many as you can. And he was playing the Johnny, like 1 or 2 copies with Johnny was like pretty good. And the deck was really good, but like there's just game 3 against Joseph's Big Boros deck. Like, he just landed a dragon, the game was over.
yeah,
Because you can't banish your priest it, and you just don't have any outs to it. You have to race it, and I don't know, Dragon Race is pretty good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Dragon Race is pretty good. So these guys have drawn their openers. Doesn't look like we're having any mulligans here. So everybody on 7 cards going into the decider. With Jordan on the play. Nope, looks like Jordan's going back for a fresh 6. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Anyone good playing mono green tonight? Well, nobody good is playing because they're here. Heyo! That's a good joke on us. There's a couple guys from the next shop over, Eric Schmidt and Corey Buchanan. I haven't seen them here in a while. It's good to see them. I have no idea what they're playing. Dr. Matt is here. Former ringer, Matt Elliott. He moved away like 2 months before we started the stream, I think. Because he was in med school here, and then... do you know him? Have you met him? No. Like, he was the... I don't know, he occupied the Dave Snow role for a while as the go-to limited guy. He's very good. We went to Origins one year, 2 years ago. I was trying to get into Legacy, and I was just trading the whole week and weekend. And then he went as well and just played non-stop drafts and limited events. And he won every event he entered except one, including a 50-person Grand Prix trial that he scooped at the end to Lauren Nolan. And Lauren Nolan is like 3-time Star City Legacy champ. Like, he's just on a real tear during Scar's blog. You know how to play the 40-card decks.
You never know. I mean, I've only got to draft 7 times this week, so...
Yeah, he played Moto a lot, too. Yeah.
You never know when you're running into that grinder.
the point I'm trying to make is that he is better at this game than I am. But, to be fair, everyone is better at this game than I am. I have 3 dogs, 2 of them are better than I am.
It's not the worst.
I got the other one. So he's only 1. So Jordan finds 6 he can keep, and goes right up to 3 and plays a Smiter. You cannot Essence Scatter the Smiter. There's Aaron Daly. Did you get there against the red cards?
No, sure didn't.
It's going to be a pretty bad matchup for you, I figure.
Well, especially when my deck doesn't show up.
That happens too. Magic is a game of variance. Yeah. I hate that cool snap reprint planes.
Yeah.
Whip time. Whip of Erebus. Are we going to dissolve this? I figure if we have it dissolved, we should. But no, it sticks. So 8-point life swing as the whip gives the Smiter lifelink.
It's a pretty super strong card in this match too.
It's just, yeah, it just breaks the, because these games are kind of grindy, and the, number one, the lifelink makes the dragon race much easier to deal with, and number 2, it's just infinite value.
Yeah.
Especially since he's playing Sin Collectors, like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Mike has a hard time blocking too.
Well, Sin Collector exiles. So I don't think it would I don't think the Smiter would.
No, I'm saying that if he plays Sin Collector and it goes to the bin, he can whip it back into play.
Oh, alright. Sorry, I'm slow.
It's been a long week.
Good God. Yes, it has.
It's just ambient Donkey Kong noise out there. Is that what that was? No, that's Pac-Man. Oh, I got the same 1980-85 era cabinet game. So we're going to burn and lightning strike.
Let's not have a 5th land.
You know what they call that, Dave? They call that the old 2-for-1.
Yeah, it's kind of painful.
Well, it's
I don't like to do things like that until I get down to about 3 life.
it's probably not where you want to be, but Michael clearly had felt like he had no other choice there.
I don't think he had a 5th land. He just put that one straight into play off the top.
Yep, that's the old Miracled Island there.
Miracle Island.
But it was a John Avon Island, so 5 mana. We're going to see an Ember Swallower? Nope, we're going to see a dragon. Was that in response? Because Jordan couldn't cast that Devour Flash.
Sack nothing resolves.
Clearly not the case, but Jordan couldn't. He's very excited. It's always the circumstance sometimes that, like FNM, when someone will have a counter spell and just as soon as you play any card, they just counter it immediately. They don't even read it.
It'd been better if you yelled gotcha. Nailed it.
Off the top. So 1 dragon down, Michael drawing 2 consecutive lands. We know his hand is basically business. More dragons. More dragons knocking Jordan down to 24. That's right, knocking him down to 24. And there's the Arbor Colossus coming down under, with Michael just with 1 island open, so no Essence Scatter, no Dissolve. How are we going to get rid of this Arbor Colossus? Just another turn and burn, I guess? Cyclonic Rift, I think. 5 mana.
Or you just play 2 dragons. Does that thing have reach?
I think it does.
The Arbor Colossus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it does. Well, once it goes monsters, right?
Once it goes monstrous, I think it kills the dragon. So I think that's another reason you do it then, is because you don't want him to untap and kill your dragon. But the way Monstrosity works, if the creature's not there to put the counters on, you don't get the effect.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that today in the Pro Tour, actually, when Sam Black won his game by when his opponent activated a Paul Kranos to wipe out his Master of Waves and Elemental team, and then he rapid hybridization in the middle of it. So quick Pongify and win. I will tell you this, as we see an Ember Swallower, I will tell you this about the current standard metagame. If that mono blue deck does become really popular, you might want to go ahead and pick up your Mistcutter Hydras, because they have a hard time dealing with that bad boy.
I still don't think that blue deck's a real deck.
I don't think it's very good, but it's just a very narrow spot, you know, like it doesn't have to be the best deck, it just has to be the best deck in that tournament.
Yeah.
It's really depressing when you look at that deck, comparing it to, like, I don't know, like 18 months ago you could play Cawblade, and 12 months ago, you could play, like, Wolf Run Ramp.
Yeah.
Like those,
18 months.
yeah,
Give or take.
20,
Over 2 years.
30 months ago, 2.5 years ago. You know what I mean. During a period of time we can remember, there were decks that were very, very good. Some would argue that Caw-Blade was the best standard deck ever. It's at least in that discussion. I think Necropotence is the best standard deck ever, unless we're going to talk about, like, Academy. But Academy was only legal for one tournament.
I still gotta go with the Blue-Green Madness.
There's no way that deck beats the Necro deck.
It's the best deck ever, pretty much.
What are you talking about? If Adam Vickers was in here, he'd be telling me some nonsense about blue-red Magnivore or something.
It's an alright choice.
So, in response to this whip activation, getting back the Arbor Colossus, Michael is going to go ahead and Steam Augury. Dragon in a land versus 3 lands. So,
Yep.
Michael trying to. So the Essence Scatter and a Dissolve. So he just couldn't. He wasn't dead there, was he? Oh yeah, because the token is 5/5, and so exact lethal damage. So round 1 in the book. So Jordan's Junk Midrange Homebrew gets there. Step outside, see if I can find somebody else to come in here and play some Magic for us. Otherwise, we're just gonna shoot the breeze, talk about the Pro Tour, talk about the
Pop music.
old mental hospital in Weston. That place is. I embarrassed myself there once. Because some little kid scared the crap out of me. My wife will never let me live it down.
Did you squeal?
Well, I don't know if I squealed, but I didn't make a lot of noises. Because I thought I was going to be murdered, okay?
Awesome.
So what were you playing? It didn't go well?
It didn't go well because my deck didn't show up, and that's what makes that just. I know it's part of the game, but when I've got 24 lands in the deck, and I've got them all down to 5 because I didn't even see 1 in the first 2 hands,
Sure.
pisses me off. And then the second game, it's a Boros deck. I've got a handful of stuff that would take care of everything he's doing, except for I have no red. It's just 3 planes that I managed to get. Had 2 lightning strikes in my in-hand. Had a couple other things that were good. No red mana to do anything with. And I've done the math. It's good. And with 24 lands, I should see them much more often than current numbers would. Like, it doesn't mean it's a good deck. Like, I don't mind losing if, you know, if there was at least a good game played. But there wasn't. This deck is kind of a weird idea anyway. I don't think it's going to do
Do
much.
you want to know serious?
Huh?
Everyone is done.
Oh, awesome.
Like, I stepped out there and they're literally moving on to,
God, how often does that happen?
well, there's only 9 matches, but still, I think there's a good chance that every match went, no, there was multiple 2-1s. I turned in 2 slips at the end there, and they're both 2-1, so.
I'm getting fairly used to this mono red. Playing States last week. First round, first match done.
Well, you did play
Second round, second match done.
the round you played. I think it was round 4 that you played the feature match?
Yeah.
You were the first one, because I took that one up for you, and it was the first one in the box, so.
Then we got that double draw, so.
Double draw was pretty good. Of course, Dave Snow coming off top 8 performance at States, at Real States. And then TCG States coming up. Then next year we've got 3 more
TCG?
No. That one's tomorrow. Or, yeah, Sunday.
Sunday.
What was this?
Well, this is the 2013s it's called. It's the state franchise that used to be run by Wizards, but when they stopped supporting it, Sun Mesa in Arizona took over. It's like their premier TO out there. So that's the same franchise. The last Real States is probably 2011. Last year they ran in 2012. That was the one that was in Beckley. That was still pretty good, but now that they have like all these competing franchises, it's like... And as someone who tried, like, I probably cared more about Real States than anyone else for a long time. Like, even now, I don't care. Like, I literally could care less about any of them. Like, just call them Magic tournaments. Just say, hey, we're having a...
Magic tournament.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
In your state.
Next year, there will be, assuming Sun Mesa still runs the 2014s, there will be 2014 in the fall, as well as a fall Star City and TCG States. In the summer, TCG is having a Modern States, and in the spring, they're having a Limited States, and SCG is having a Spring States. So there'll be 6 States tournaments next year.
Alright.
It's just a giant cash grab. Everyone's just trying to get paid. I care less.
Maybe 2014 6X champion.
I just wish, like, I guess it's fine, like, if you live in, like, a giant area where everybody just wants more Magic tournaments, but around here, like, all it ends up doing is just, like ruining the tournaments, because you end up having, like, 3 different shops promoting it, and then you end up having, like, 3 separated, like, attendances.
You know what else ruins tournaments?
What?
When I don't do well.
Yes, poor performance is always going to ruin a tournament. I just wish that they would come, and they would never do this because there's no motivation to, but I wish they would just come together and just be like, alright, we're just going to run this, like, multifaceted tournament and just chop it, and then just have, like, a massive event. You know, but no, we're going to have, like, some random shop run TCG, and then, like, this store going to run Sun Mesa, and then, like, who knows who's going to get Star City, probably here, or Four Horsemen. So, like,
Is that the one in Huntington?
Four Horsemen is the one in Morgantown. Hometown Hobbies is the one in Huntington. I'd be fine with either of them hosting it. It's not. It's nothing. I think both those stores are great. It's just that there's no reason why, like, because you're just going to have different priority sets. You're going to have 3 different people who are like, don't go to that states, come to our states, and all that ends up is just having, like, instead of having, like, 100+